So, hi there, everyone. My name is David Taylor, and I am an IAB director. And this is the latest in a series of thought leadership videos that we've been running this year for IAB. And I'm really delighted to say that today I'm actually joined by our Deputy Chief Examiner, Michelle Griffiths. Good morning, Michelle, and how are you?
Very well, thank you, David. Yourself?
Very well, very well. How is sunny Barnsley today?
Not very sunny, but hoping for later on.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I say I'm delighted we got Michelle here today. Michelle has 26 years of experience in all things to do with accountancy. So, Michelle, just kicking off, really. I know that education is an absolutely white hot topic for all of us over at IAB. What is your briefly? Could you tell us what your role is within the organisation?
Yes, I've got a mix of different roles, quite an exciting role, to be honest, because not only do I review and update the current qualifications, but I'm also involved in the development of new qualifications as well. So, in quite a very changing landscape as we face at the minute with accountancy, it's a really exciting role to be in to see how we can bring the changes that are happening in everyday life in accountancy into our qualifications. So quite an exciting and ever-changing role.
And would it be fair to say that you are just the woman for the job because you as I said you've been there, done it, and you talked a little bit to me earlier about your experience around accountancy, but also about developing training there. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so in terms of experience, like you say, I've worked in accountancy for 26 years, but not just accountancy. It's been whether it be in practice or in industry, or through to education. So it's a little bit of everything is there that we need to draw upon, whether it be the practice experience from a compliance point of view, whether it be from an updating and CPD perspective, why that's important. So it's having an appreciation for all the little cogs that kind of make it all work. And hopefully that's what I can bring into the education role. And having that wider business experience as well as of running my own business, which impacts greatly on what I'm able to bring into the IAB qualifications.
Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, I think um, experience of running your own business. You've been there, done that. You know what the stresses and the strains are, uh,
Absolutely.
and therefore you can give maximum benefit to our members. So you've obviously been with IAB for the last 18 months. I know there's been a huge amount of work which has been going on, particularly around levels 1 to 3 courses. And really, I guess because it's such a fast changing world, would it be true to say that you're just trying to make them as fit for purpose as possible?
Absolutely. There's been an awful lot of work going off in the background, like you say, and IAB levels 1 to 3 obviously play a really critical role in getting students and through to members and supporting them as they progress up through the pathways. So we're giving the IAB level 3 a fresh new look. We're making sure that it's up to date with changes in bookkeeping and accountancy, whether it be content that's in the materials, such as payment methods, for example. So the old material used to still make reference to checks, for example, and paying wages in cash. So it's updating
Yeah.
all those things to make sure they reflect the changes as what we're seeing in the industry, but also, like you said, their technology as well. So how technology plays a role. So we're introducing all these new elements back into the qualification, giving it a fresh new appeal, making it relevant to people today. But we're also introducing a new testing method for the levels 1 to 3, which are going to mean that centres and students have a bit more of a flexible approach to the assessments, and it's very much going to be more student focused in terms of being able to do those assessments. So there's lots of developments around the levels 1 to 3 taking place, but we've also got other areas as well. So we've got the launch of the level 2 certificate in accounting and business apprenticeship. which is another area we've been working on. We've got a training provider who is currently trialing at the level 2 apprenticeship with a group of apprentices. And the feedback so far has been very, very positive. So what we've done, we've tried to bring changes from real world into the qualification again. We've embedded digital skills. We're embedding the use of spreadsheets in there, for example.
Right.
So it's very, very positive, not just from the provider, but from the apprentices themselves and also from the employers. They're really, really liking the developments that we're doing there. And it's nice for us to be recognised as an apprenticeship body there as well with IFIT.
Absolutely.
It's really good, really, really good. And watch this space because of the success of the launch. There's already early discussions around providing a level 3 for
Wow.
those students that want to progress. So that's being developed in the background as well.
Fantastic. And I also know that we've been doing something around IFRS level 4. Could you explain a
Yeah.
little bit what we've been doing there?
Yeah, we've got the level 4 certificate in international accounting standards and IFRS qualification. Again, we've updated that qualification because of all the changes in accounting standards that have come in recently. And we've also put in there an element of ESG reporting. So obviously the need to report on wider issues facing businesses these days and looking at those aspects. So it's a really, really good qualification for students to progress their education further. So if students have done such as like the levels 1 to 3, and they want to see where they could go next with their studies, then the level 4 offers an ideal pathway into further studies. And it opens their eyes to the higher level education that they can then progress further.
It's fascinating just listening to you there. I mean, who would have thought a few years ago that if you are working in finance, you'd never think that you were going to end up doing something to do with sustainability. And you think,
Yeah.
well, how on earth and sustainability and finance are matching up? But of course, something that
Hmm.
I know that Sarah and I have spoken about in previous videos is how, in many ways, finance professionals have these wonderful skill sets and wonderful knowledge base, which they can use. And I guess rather than just counting the traditional numbers of what a
Yeah,
business is worth, you're also looking at its footprint in terms of the market leaves on the planet. And
absolutely.
and I think
Absolutely.
I know from my own reading that obviously valuations of some businesses are based around a whole range of criteria, and of course you need finance professionals to come up with those metrics.
Absolutely. And it's also understanding the business more as well and the impact it has, and how we can use that information. So, from an accounting and finance point of view, we can really measure now the impact of those decisions and the impact that has on the wider organization. So, you can present that information then to decision makers, and they can then take that and lead that business forward.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, and another issue that you touched upon there is that we are clearly living in a very, very fast changing world, and no professions are exempt from tech. No professions are exempt from the changes going on. We've obviously, again, something that Sarah Palmer and I have spoken about before is the introduction of AI and an increasing software into financial profession. And I know also that something that we've been championing very much at IAB is incorporating more business elements into any courses that we're doing. Could you talk a little bit about that and maybe what we're doing at the moment in terms of level 1 to 3, but also about where we may be going in the not too distant future?
Yeah, certainly with the levels 1 to 3, traditionally they were very much bookkeeping orientated qualifications. And the role of bookkeeper and accountants is diversifying so much, and a lot of it is due to the use and impact of technology and AI, like you mentioned. So a lot of roles are changing. Even the reporting functions that we use in accounting and finance are changing. So as bookkeepers and accountants, we need to embrace that. And it's not that our role is dying, it's that the role is diversifying. So we need to now develop the skills that match what's required of us, whether it be in practice or in industry, and whether that be more of an analytical role and more of an advisory role. But certainly we need to link in a business perspective into the qualifications. And that's what we're hoping to achieve with the updates for the levels 1 to 3. It's very much understanding the impact that we have on the business, not just finance. And that is certainly something that we need to get across. And certainly as people progress higher through the pathway of the qualifications, it's something that hopefully they can then see how they can apply, whether they work in practice or industry or for themselves. It's something that they can use and hopefully going to add value.
It's so critical now. I think I
Mm.
mentioned you before that many years ago I studied and trained as a journalist and at college, and that course has just been dropped now because there is nowhere for people to be journalists in essence. However, a lot of the skills innate in that course are still very, very transferable, and you could argue that that course should have evolved into something different, which is still giving value to young people. So I know also at IAB, we're now taking a very much a strategic view of how we can support not only students, but also our members. And
Absolutely.
I know that at our recent coffee morning, Sarah was talking about this model, if you like, of where are you in business? How comfortable can you be? Does it fit with your lifestyle? And can you go on the journey, whatever journey that may be? And it sounds to me, Michelle, as though we're taking that approach right across the board. And it's understanding
Mhm.
rather than saying, look, we're just going to give you some skills, which are some core skills, and it's off you go on your own. We're saying, well, we'd like to be with you on the journey.
Absolutely. And that's the perfect word for it, journey. It's not just a case of that you study, say, level 1 to 3, for example, that you qualified and that's the end of the road. I always liken the CPD element and the membership element. If you think about, say, for example, you're receiving treatment from a doctor, for example, how would you feel if that doctor hadn't been upskilling in the last 8 years, for example, and they're not aware of the latest treatments or procedures? Or if you've got a gas engineer that's coming to fix and service your gas boiler, you'd want to know that they know the requirements. Accounting and bookkeeping is no different.
Yeah.
A lot of people have the approach that, oh, I'm qualified now. That's it, I'm done. But you're not. There's always something else to learn. And accounting and finance and bookkeeping, or even business areas, it's such a wide area that there's always something else that's changing and developing that we need to keep aware of. And it's something that we need to emphasize that, even though you become qualified, you become a member, you then do the CPD, and we work with you to keep you up to date with what's changing. And hopefully that will then keep you in line with what you're needing to do in terms of your roles. But CPD is an area that people quite often undervalue, and I think it's something that we want to really emphasize how important and how much benefit that CPD can bring to students and members, and we're really wanting to get that point across.
It's again, it's fascinating listening to you, Michelle. I think I'm struck by your passion. Clearly there is a real passion to help both next generation and existing generation with their
Absolutely.
practices and their careers, etc. I mean, I know
Mm.
that, it is quite scary, though. I mean, a lot of what we're talking about here, you've got a world of AI and tech and changing environments, and maybe need to do either data analytics or business consultancy. And I know that there may well be a lot of members, in particular, who are, dare I say, almost scared witless by this world. It's like this,
Yeah.
and I guess, would it be fair, Michelle, to say that what we're trying to do is is take people on that journey in the nicest way as possible. I think we've been around for a very long time and we really know our stuff. And I think
Mhm.
by listening to you today, that we are absolutely at the cutting edge of what we're trying to do around education in the financial profession. Uh,
Mhm.
but you know, what other sort of things are going on around the organization? I know we've got our fantastic IAB education platform, which we've invested a lot of money in. So what other things are going on which certainly members and also potential members and students might be interested in?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've got the updating of the level 1 to 3, like I mentioned, and the level 2 apprenticeship with further elements and levels coming to those later on. We're also looking at the possibility of a self-study route, but that's coming later in 2025. So I'm
Right.
not going to go much further on that one yet. That's still in the early stages. But I think it's very true to say that there's a definite commitment to making sure, like you said, that we're at that cutting edge of education. Um, Janet and Sarah both got a passion for education. You can see that when you listen to them. And the chief examiner and I share that passion. We're big believers that education is the key. It's not just about where you are today, but where you can go with it.
Mm.
And I personally think bookkeeping and accounting is a very exciting area to be in. The changes that are coming through, we need to embrace. We need to see how they can make our lives not easier and better, but they're going to change our roles. And that gives us an opportunity to develop our own skills as individuals as well. So really exciting times. The platform is going to be amazing. From what I've seen already of the platform, it's going to be much better for students and centres in terms of the assessment availability. And I think there's a lot of exciting times coming from IAB. It's quite exciting to be part of.
But it's brilliant to hear. I mean, I think many members who will be sitting at home or working for their office, etc. Sometimes it can be maybe a little bit bewildering, and they see all
Yeah.
the changes going on in the world. And I'm again, I'm very proud to be part of IB and proud to be part of an organisation which is pretty much putting education first and foremost in front of everything else.
Yeah.
And I know from I've worked with small businesses for many years now, and one thing you hear all the time is skills. We need the skills, whether we need the skills from youngsters who are coming into the workplace, or we need the skills of the people who are already in the workplace who are employed, or you need the skills of those who are setting up their own business. There's a whole range of skills which are required for all those different entities. And in many cases, we're not getting people aren't necessarily getting the support and the guidance they need. But I know that that's something that we've really kicked into gear now, and it's understanding that if you are a student with us, if you are employed, and you want to further your career, or you have aspirations of really growing your practice, we're there for you, whichever step of the way you're at.
Absolutely. It doesn't matter which stage of your career that you're in. IAB can be there to support you every step of the way, and we offer that pathway now. We've got that progression route, and students have got plenty of opportunities to grow and develop, and then become members, like you're saying, then use our CPD areas as well. So we offer a lot to students, and we're very open to feedback as well in terms of what areas people want us to look into developing. So, we're more than happy for people to talk to us. That's what we want.
Oh, it's so lovely to hear, and it's so lovely to hear also your passion, as you say. I mean, you, Mike, the chief examiner, Janet, Sarah, everyone at the top end of the organisation is absolutely committed to
Yeah.
education, and it's absolutely fantastic to hear. And it
Mhm.
sounds like there's lots of exciting things in the pipeline as well. So I'm sure we will talk about those in future newsletters and in some of the future videos we're doing. But I think for now, Michelle, I think that's been really helpful. and it's wonderful to hear about how much work is really going on behind the scenes. Watch this space. I look forward to seeing where we're going in the future.
Definitely. Yeah.
Brilliant. Michelle, thank you so much for your time.
No
And
problem.
I look forward to hearing about the latest developments as they come through.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.